Hi, everybody, and welcome to this Lunch and Learn session today. We're going to be discussing how we can create new product attributes without any IT involvement whatsoever. My name's Robin Aitken. I'm product manager here at EasyAsk, and we're going to be trying to keep this to 20 minutes or less, plus any time we spend answering your questions. If you've got any questions, please go ahead and type them into the GoToWebinar question box, which should be on your screen, and then we'll take a look at those at the end of the presentation. So I'm just going to jump right on into attributes, and firstly, just to remind us all what we're talking about, make sure we're talking about the same thing here. So attributes are the items of information that are associated with your products in the catalog, usually in a kind of has-a relationship. So products have a manufacturer or has a voltage, has a size, has a color, and so on, where manufacturer, voltage, etc. are the attributes. So they are typically related in that kind of has-a relationship, and they're useful. So attribute values, so on the screen you can see we've got an attribute called material, and it's got the values of wood, metal, leather, fabric. These values are searchable. So when somebody types wood or metal, they're automatically going to find those products that are associated with that particular attribute value. But of course, they're also useful for navigation in that we put them typically on the left-hand side of your screen on products results pages and on category pages, and they allow your users to click on the values to zoom in on those particular things. And it's really important to most users to be able to do that. Most users aren't going to put in searches that get them to exactly the right products. They typically will get a broad selection of products, and then we'll use attributes to zoom in to exactly what they're looking for. Now, in storefront systems, we see a huge range of situations, and we've got customers who have hundreds, some even thousands of attributes built into their storefront data and stored in the catalog. And others have very few or even no attributes. But what we're going to be talking about today is how EasyAsk can give you the ability to create new attributes. Even if you've got lots, there's always a case for having an extra attribute for a particular reasons. And these new attributes effectively are giving your users new ways to shop. So they are improving the user experience. And let's just have a look at why you would want to create new attributes. Obviously, giving your users more ways to find the products, so being able to zoom in, as I was just discussing, but also to be able to hide inconsistencies that you might have in product data. So you may have attributes, but the attribute values have got some kind of inconsistencies. There are lots of examples that we come across. The 1 gallon example that is showing on the screen was we found in a company that was selling paint, and they had products which the 1 gallon products were sometimes described as 1 space gallon, sometimes 1 gal, 1 hyphen gallon, and so on. And there are just inconsistencies, and it really depends on where you're getting your data from in terms of product descriptions as to how that is. If you're getting it directly from the manufacturers, every manufacturer is going to describe things slightly differently. And so these kind of inconsistencies are very, very common. And EasyAsk attributes allow you to take those different values and effectively map them to one consistent value, so that instead of showing filters where you may have all the different variants, you only show the 1 gallon, for example, in this case. Another reason you might want to create new attributes is reacting to events. And the most obvious recent example is, of course, the COVID pandemic, and many of our customers who sell products that are relevant have created COVID attributes so that the user can click on a COVID attribute and perhaps look at the values of face masks, sanitizer, and so on, in order to zoom straight in on those products. And obviously, nobody would have thought that they would have needed a COVID attribute when their system was designed or when they were building the storefront system, unless, of course, they were doing it in the last year. So being able to react to events is really important. Other examples, if you know that in the region that you're selling, there's going to be a particularly long cold spell, then you might want to be offering cold weather products. If it's related to motoring, you might be offering more screen antifreeze and those types of products. So you could be reacting to anything. The beauty of EasyAsk attributes is that you can react very, very quickly. Also, managing attributes that have got too many distinct values. Example of that would be things such as measurements is quite a common situation where measurements differ very slightly, and you really wouldn't want to list all those different values as selection attributes because they're too close. I've got an example which I'll show you in a moment based on laptop screen size, where screen size could be 12 or 12.1 or 12.3, a user isn't going to want to choose a 12.1. They know they're looking for roughly 12-inch, and so including all the measurements that are close to 12 in that selection is very powerful. And finally, and probably most importantly in a storefront context, is being able to expose useful information that may be kind of hidden in your product descriptions. And we know that many of you have ERP systems that have got strict limits on the numbers of characters that you can put in product descriptions. And as a result, the product descriptions aren't particularly descriptive. They have lots of abbreviations and special syntaxes for covering things like measurements and so on. And so being able to suck that information out and create an attribute from it is really powerful. And I'll show you an example of that as well in just a moment. Before we go any further, we do have a quick poll question. And so Matt, I think if you can activate that poll and give our attendees a few seconds to give a response, then is that showing? Oh yeah, poll is open. Good.
Yeah. So, do you believe that you have enough product attributes to find in your storefront system? So you guys get a chance here. Seems like so far everyone who's voted is saying that no, we definitely need more. Give it a couple more seconds.
That's interesting.
Okay, yeah, so it seems like everyone here thinks that they definitely need more attributes.
Okay, well that's good, because if you don't have enough attributes, don't despair, because if you're using EasyAsk, which you probably are, then you can create them, and we're going to look at various ways in which you can do that. So let's look at what EasyAsk attributes give you. So firstly, they allow us to create new attributes that are based on an easy to use query language. So being able to specify which products match the attributes you create using a query language, and obviously totally under the control of you, the business user. And obviously this allows you to create new navigation attributes. The upside side effect of that is that the attribute values also become searchable. And so as you'll see when we look at some examples, there's some great kind of benefits to that. There's no IT involvement, and this is crucial. If you create a new attribute in EasyAsk Studio, and once you've promoted your changes and made your changes live, then your storefront system will automatically update to show the new attribute. There's no IT involvement, no developers, no screen changes. The other thing is it's a read-only operation, so it's not going to touch your storefront data in any way. So it doesn't affect your back-end system. There's no new fields, nothing to do there at all. It's very fast. We build the indexes for these attributes as part of the nightly build process to keep it really fast. So they're very fast in terms of operation. So when your users click on a new attribute, they'll get a near instantaneous response with the appropriate products. And finally, these attributes can be linked to events. And this means that you effectively only turn them on for a certain period of time. You may have attributes related to a campaign you're doing that only lasts for 2 weeks. The attribute will appear and disappear automatically if it's linked to an event like that. Now, in terms of exposing useful information, I've got an example that I actually came across with a customer recently. And this was a building supplies company, and because of the limit of the length of their descriptions, they had a lot of abbreviations, one of which was the size of timber. So I've listed 8 product descriptions there. All of them have got the word TMBR, and then they've got some numbers and SPR, which I think meant spruce. I can't quite remember. I think it was the type of wood. The key thing here, though, is that those numbers in the middle are the size of the pieces of timber. And the great thing with this customer was that format was consistent. It was always the width in inches by the thickness of the timber in inches by the length of the timber in feet. So that first one was an 8-inch by 2-inch plank, which is 10 foot long. The second one is a 6-inch by 2-inch that's 12 foot long. The problem is that when users are on that site, they know what size they want, but they've got no idea how to search for it. The size is hidden in that single search term that's in the middle of that description. And our customer wanted to create new attributes for width, thickness, and length, so that the user, once they got a screen full of timber, they could, on the left-hand navigation, simply click whichever thickness they wanted or whichever width or length. And EasyAsk allows you to do this. In fact, this is one of the really powerful features of EasyAsk. And so what we did is we used a facility within the EasyAsk system called the Wildcard Search. And we created attributes called width, thickness, and length. And the values are simply what we want to display in the navigation to the user. So we created a width attribute, and then we created an attribute value called 4-inch. And then we simply created the rule that says these are the products that will match to 4-inch. And we've said product description, which is actually the name of the product, contains TMBR and contains a string which is 4x star. And what that means is anything beginning 4x. And so that would automatically match to item 3, this 4 by 2 by 12. It would also match to 6 because it's got a word in it that begins 4x. The 6-inch was the same, except that it was obviously a 6x star and an 8x star for the 8-inch width timber. The thickness is a little bit more complicated because thickness is in the middle. And so we had to put a wildcard at the beginning and the end. So here we're saying The 1 inch thick products are those that contain the word TMBR and contain a word that has some characters followed by X1X followed by some more characters. And so that is going to match to products 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So all of these products in the second half of this list have got the X1X preceded by some characters and followed by some characters as well. So that matches those. And 2 inch was very similar. And then the length, because it was the last thing, we were looking for words ending in X10 means it's a 10-foot product. X12 means it's a 12-foot product. And this is quite a common situation. And I don't know if any of the attendees have this exact problem. We've come across it several times when working with storefront customers. I've seen measurements appearing like this, and being able to effectively extract those individual dimensions and turn them into an attribute is very, very powerful. The other side effect of this is if somebody types 4 inch timber, we're going to find these products as well. Or if somebody types 10 feet timber or 10 feet spruce or whatever the search is, this 12 feet is going to be recognized in search as well, and is automatically going to pull out the 12-foot products. Very, very powerful. So with that, I'm going to show you an example of doing it in my demo data. So I'm just going to switch over to my studio screen. And as you can see, I'm already on an attribute screen. And I'm just going to show you the results of what I do in this preview application. Now, this is built into Studio. Those of you that are already using Studio will probably be familiar with this. I'm using data, I call it the Best Buy data because it's all kind of electronics and so on. This preview application is not Storefront, but it's what you would use when you are using Studio to make changes to preview what's going to happen. So we're still going to see attributes. We're going to see the products exactly as in the same order as they would appear in Storefront. So one of the example I want to use is if I just show you some laptops, because we have a lot of those in here. And you will notice that these laptop descriptions actually have quite a lot of useful information. They've got things like the size of the display. They've got the processor in there. But for this example, I want to focus on the memory. All of these products mention the size of the memory, but we don't have an attribute for memory or for RAM. So I'm going to create one, and what we're going to do is create some rules that say, let's find all the products that match 8 gigabytes of memory and add an 8 gigabyte RAM type of attribute value to make it clickable. So let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to create a brand new attribute, and I'll call it RAM. And it's a derived attribute. So we're deriving the attribute from other information, in this case, the product name. And now I can specify the values. So I'm just going to create a few. I'll create a 4 gigabyte. And the products that are 4 gigabyte are those where the product name, apologies for my typing, the product name contains 4 GB memory, because that's how it is. Now, if there were inconsistencies, if perhaps some of the products said 4 GB RAM, I could say 4 GB RAM, and I would then get both of those. So in this case, I think they all say memory, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm just going to copy this text because I'm going to create the same for a couple of other sizes. So if I just add that, and now I'll create an 8 gigabyte, and I'll just paste that in but change the 4 to an 8. And let's just do a 16 as well. And I'll stop there. We do have some 12s and 32s as well, but this will do for demo purposes. So I add that. And one of the nice things about Studio is when you have a search like this, if you click on it, Studio will show you a preview of how many products match. So it's a good way to check that you've actually typed in a query that is working. And it's important that this is accurate, because people are going to rely on this to find their 4 GB machines. As you can see, there are 221 products. It looks like they all mention 4 GB of memory, which is exactly what they should do. So I'm happy with that. And if I just check one of the others as well, yeah, these are all the 16 GB memory machines. And so if I just synchronize the index now, and if I go back into my preview now, and I just get some laptops on the screen again, now I've got a new attribute. At the moment, I'm showing this in 8, 16, and 4 order. There's a separate function in EasyAsk that allows us to reorder these to put them in a more logical order. But the key thing is, what I've done is created a whole new navigation attribute. And if I want my users to be able to zoom in on a particular size machine, 16 GB, it's there. I can give them that facility. And that's exactly what we were able to do with the customer with the timber. They after having those attributes created, they had a width, thickness, and length attribute. I think they actually called them timber width to distinguish it from other types of widths that they were already using. But very, very quickly, we've created a brand new attribute, and it will appear in your storefront system once you publish those changes. Just one other example that I wanted to show you, which was screen size. This was an example where you may have a diverse set of values. And in this case, as you can see, I've set up 12-inch screen sizes to match to all the sizes that I have that are somewhere near 12-inch, because people aren't going to be looking for an 11.6-inch screen or a 12.2. They're gonna want to look for a 12-inch, and they will automatically get all of these. Likewise, 13 includes 13.3, and so on. And so being able to effectively group a set of distinct values and give it a name so that you kind of pull them together. Another good example that we come across a lot in the retail sector, but we have come across it in B2B as well, is color, where colors may have very many different types of names, but users really only understand primary colors. And so mapping things like red to red or burgundy or cerise or pink and so on is a very useful thing to do, and creating a color family rather than an individual color. And in fact, we've got a customer working at the moment who have over 1,000 different color values in their color attribute. So we're just using exactly this facility to effectively map those distinct values to color families. Hopefully that gives you an idea of the kind of power of EasyAsk attributes. And remember, anything you create in EasyAsk will appear on your storefront system, and without any IT involvement whatsoever. So with that, I'm just going to switch back to the slides and see what's coming next. Oh, now we've got another poll. So I'll pass over to you, Matt.
Okay, thank you, Robin. So now that you've seen what's possible, do you think that it will help your site to take advantage of this ability in EasyAsk Studio? Let's give you guys a few minutes, or a few seconds here, sorry.
And I guess just while people are filling in that response, the only thing I would say is, if you've got no attributes, then you have the choice. You can create them in EasyAsk, or you can have a project to create some in your storefront system. And the beauty of the storefront system is that when it's displaying the screen, it doesn't matter whether those attributes have been created, in the storefront system and EasyAsk has read them, or whether they're created in EasyAsk, just like we've been doing. They will be treated as if they were all coming from your storefront system. So there's no difference to the user.
All right, so we got an overwhelming success of yes.
Great.
That people love it.
Good. And that as you saw from the timber example, you can kind of come up with some fairly complex examples. We've come across virtually everything. We do a lot of training and helping storefront customers. So we've seen lots and lots of situations. So we usually have a solution, even if you look at a problem that you've got and you think, I've got no idea, what the rule is going to be to help me find this information. Get in touch with us. Just give us a call. It doesn't cost anything to speak with us, and we can suggest a way forward for you. So, and with that, I'm just going to do the usual shameless plug for the EasyAsk Direct program, and this is a program that is available to all storefront customers. It can replace your Info storefront support if you so wish. It will involve us doing an upgrade for you and making sure that you've got Studio, making sure that you've got analytics, which is the information that you get that tells you how people are using your site. And we produce quite a lot of analytics. And what we find, when working with storefront customers is many of them don't have a good setup of analytics and aren't receiving their weekly and monthly reports like they should do. So we'll sort that out. We'll make sure that we can get you up and running with the search as you type feature, the advanced autocomplete or instant search. We'll give you full Studio training, and we'll do ongoing concierge level support where we will jump on a call with you. We will look at what you're trying to do. We'll show you the best way to do it, and we can do those as often or as needed. Typically, we start doing those with bi-weekly or monthly calls, and then they can tail off because you, the business user, become confident in doing these things yourself. So it's a kind of a very specific type of training, and that is included in the EasyAsk Direct program. And optionally, you can choose to have us totally reskin your site. So we work with a partner who will totally reskin the site, make it mobile friendly, even combine non-product data into the site if you wish. So end of plug for EasyAsk Direct, but it's a great buy, and we've seen some fantastic results with our EasyAsk Direct customers. Finally, from me, I think it's great if we can get some feedback on these sessions. We find it very difficult to get everyone to give us feedback. Some people do, some don't. We will send you an email with a link in it, and if you click on that link, it will take you to a little form where you can just tell us anything you want about this. Is it long enough? Is it too detailed, too broad? Let us know what you think, and if you think you'd like a particular subject covered, then just suggest it and we'll try and build it into the schedule. And with that, I think we're going to go to some questions, Matt.
Yeah, we got a couple in there already, and we got time for some more, guys. So if you got some more, please feel free to send them in. So first off, is there a limit to how many attributes I can create?
No, there's no practical limit. Obviously, you need to understand what they are and manage them, but there is no practical limit. And as I said right at the start, we've come across customers that have got literally thousands of storefront attributes, and EasyAsk manages those. So You can create hundreds if you wish. Most customers will probably find that creating 20 or 30 is going to make a huge difference to the site, and your users will really notice the improvement and how easy it is to find products. But there is no practical limit.
Okay, this one's a little more detailed. Is there a way to order the attribute list? For example, so they have a cup capacity of 4 ounces to 10 ounces and then 12 ounces to 24 ounces. They'd like to see the attribute list displayed in size order, but it displays 12 to 24 first because it starts with the number 1 versus 4 ounces first because it starts with the number 4.
Yeah. So in fact, why don't I just jump in to Studio, because I had exactly that problem. If I show you the situation, just take that RAM selection off. So when I was looking at laptops and I added RAM, as you can see, it went 8, 16, followed by 4, which is exactly the problem you're referring to. In Studio, we can go in to the display settings, and under attributes, you can see here's my RAM attribute. If I double click on this list of values, it allows me to change the order. The default, which it's showing at the moment, is alphanumeric. We can order by product count. Custom order is probably what you want. And in this case, all I want to do is drag 4 gigabytes to the top. So now it goes 4, 8, 16, click on apply. And if I just save my changes and double check, if I look at RAM now, it's 4, 8, 16. So you have complete control over the order of the values. You also have control over the order of the attributes. So if I wanted RAM to be at the top above brand, for example, I could do that. But we can reorder these, we can reorder all of those. And in fact, you can even set limits to how you display these attributes. That we can cover that in more detail on another call. But yeah, display settings is what you need. It's on the merchandise menu. Go to display and then click on the attribute navigation tab. Double click on the values that you see there, and then you can just drag and drop them into the order you want.
All right, thank you, Robin. And I got another one. If I create an attribute in EasyAsk, will it look different to the attributes I already have in my storefront system?
No, it won't. So, the attributes that are created in EasyAsk are passed back to the storefront front end just as part of a set of attributes. So the attributes that storefront receives following a query or a category click to display as filters, storefront doesn't see any difference in them. So they are just a set of attributes, and some of them may have been created in EasyAsk, some of them may have come from the storefront system originally, but they are identical to the front end.
All right, I think that is it. I don't see any other questions coming in.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Thank you for those questions. Just to let you know that the Lunch and Learn series that we've been doing, we're pausing it for May because of Tug Connects 2021, which is the big Tug conference, and because we're already doing several webinars as part of that. So we're doing a case study with a customer to show how they're using attributes actually. So you may want to register that. We don't have the dates and times of those webinars yet because that's down to Tug to organize, but just look out for those. We're going to be doing various things during May. In June, we're going to be continuing the Lunch and Learn series, and the next one is going to be talking about why the EasyAsk system is particularly good for B2B e-commerce. through the way we're able to kind of work with the Storefront catalog. So with that, I think that's it. So thank you for listening, and I'm just going to hand over to Matt to finish off now.
All right, thank you, Robin. And to everyone who attended the webinar, we appreciate your time. We'd love for you to get actively involved with us to kind of take control of your B2B site. All you got to do is reach out. It's the first step to making dramatic changes to your site capabilities, and it is definitely well worth your time. Thank you again. You see our contact information there on the page for Robin, Don Harris, and myself. So feel free to reach out. Thank you again, and have a great day.
Thank you, Matt.